Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is almost Friday. We're so close.
And this is our last one with me this year, but not our last event, but close.
Right. So we're very, very close to the end of the year events. I think there's 2 more Coding with Sams. One of them is tomorrow, and I'll do a whole recap of our events coming up as well. But there is also going to be a webinar that we're doing with Kit, formerly ConvertKit. I will be like their guest, and we're going to take a look at what's inside the Paid Memberships Pro kit and how we use PMPro for our membership site to show everybody what else you can do for your membership site. That one, you do have to actually pre-register for that event. So check the Slack community, check your emails. We're trying to, our socials, we're kind of linking it all over the place. So if you're interested in seeing how we use Kit, if you're dabbling in email integration and not really sure, definitely check out that webinar. Pre-register even if you can't go, because we will get a video afterwards that you can catch up on it later. So, and I'll dive into more of that when we are actually talking about all the events coming up. But yeah, we're wrapping up 2025 rapidly.
Yep. But today we are here to talk about the block editor. You may have heard the term Gutenberg. This is a page builder built into your WordPress site. It's what we use to build paidmembershipspro.com. We don't have an additional page builder. Some others you may have heard of are Elementor, Divi, Beaver Builder. You may be using Oxygen Builder, Bricks Builder. There's a lot of companies attempting to create a more visual editing experience and a more simple editing experience for when you're creating content, landing pages, posts in your WordPress site. The WordPress core contributor team is also trying to do that, the people that work on Gutenberg. So we're going to give you an overview of using Gutenberg and the block editor, and maybe it's something you want to consider using for your current membership site and eliminate the weight of Elementor, which, I mean, if you love Elementor, keep using it. That is totally fine. But
or
if
any
you're
block,
interested, any page builder.
Any page builder, feel free to keep using it.
Yeah, but if you haven't looked at the block editor in a while, it has come a long way since it first came out. I've become more comfortable with it, more confident to recommend it for people building membership sites, just because it's a smooth, fast editing experience, and I think keeps your site pretty snappy fast as well. So yeah, we're going to do an overview of the editor, of core blocks in WordPress, some tricks that we use, things you can do with your blocks and with patterns. We'll show you those, and then we'll show some of the ways that Paid Memberships Pro directly integrates with the block editor to give you more membership site customization options for your membership pages.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and share my screen.
Yes.
Kim and I are going to be dual presenting this open office hours, so we will be swapping out which screens are being used, but she and I are both logged into the same site. We just spun up our standard demo site that you can get from try.pmproplugin.com. Kim can drop the link. It's the same site that gets spun up there. If you do spin that up, it's good for 3 days before it expires, so you can go in and play around with it. But just to give you an overview of the block editor, I'm going to edit a blog post, and I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit how this is built, and some settings and things. So at the top, we do have a document overview, and that gives you the layout of how your post is built. As we get more into the design part of things with Kim, you'll see that there's like groups that you can have and how everything interconnects and lays out. So you do have an outline, which can be really helpful for grabbing, and you can, grab and drop it, which now my thing is completely out of order, which is fine because it doesn't make sense anyway.
It was gibberish.
It is gibberish. It's doggy ipsum. And then the other main component is on the right side. You do have settings for the post and different settings for the blocks that you're working with. the block settings are going to change depending on what block you're using. So as we go through this, this will be a place that we navigate to consistently when we talk about setting your background or adjusting images, or like Kim's going to dive into like margins and different spacing and borders and so many fun things. But this panel to the right gives you a lot of information. This is where you're going to require your membership for the post if you want to do that. And then if I click block, this says no block selected because I have not actually selected a block. But if I click in one, then I have a toolbar that comes up telling me what block it is. I can transform this block to other types of blocks. And then in there, it does pop up that it's the paragraph block. And then I have settings, and I also have more design settings. And every block has their own specific set of settings. So there, it'll be everything, I think.
So WordPress itself ships with two post types: post, which Sam is editing here, and page, which is another post type that's transparent and editable in the site. You may have other plugins that add custom post types. Maybe you're using an events plugin that adds an events post type. I see Emily here in chat. Emily is using the advanced custom fields to create unique post types for the site that Emily works on, that we're primarily aware of that Emily works. I know you work on many sites. So that those editing experiences may or may not support the block editor. So if you're editing a custom post type on your site and it doesn't look like this, whatever tool has added that additional post type is still using a classic editing experience. So
yeah, I can just show real quick because I think this one uses that classic.
I think you're right.
I'm not going to save anything that I did. Yeah. So this is more of that classic editor. You don't have blocks here. You're not going to have all of those different settings. And like Kim saying, this is a custom post type. Mm-hmm. What you will absolutely have for the block editor are going to be your post, your pages, the PMPro course add-on does allow you to use the block editor, so you can build out those custom post type for your courses of your main course page and your lessons with the block editor. So depending on the additional types of plugins you're using, you may or may not be able to use the block editor.
Yeah. So that's kind of the very high level. There are so many more settings and so many more features, but primarily where we work on when we're working on our site, we use that list view to kind of show the hierarchy of the page. And then we use the right side to adjust the settings of the block. And of course, the center part is where you're actually writing your content and creating your content for the site. Cool.
Okay, right. So now I'm going to share Kim's screen, and perfect. Kim is going to talk more about the core functionality of the block editor before we get into the PMPro specific stuff.
So this, your try.pmproplugin.com. If you want to play along, watch this back. I know we talk fast, we go fast, but I'm going to edit this homepage because I think it features a lot of interesting usage of the block editor and the core blocks in available in WordPress. So I'm going to edit this as a page. Sam was editing a post, but the editing experience will feel the same and be the same. How wide can I make my screen? Okay. So there's always going to be that post title at the top, and it may or may not actually display on the front end of the site, but it will still be what's used as like the title in the code of the site. So important to still add that, whether your theme is allowing you to toggle if the title displays or not. We're using Memberlite. We do have the feature to disable the title from displaying so that we can control everything right in the post editor. So this first section on this homepage is the group. Oh, is this a cover block? Let me find a group. Okay, here's a group block. The group block is a way to say, is a wrapper. It's going to say everything I put within this block is within the settings of this group. And that's where we can manipulate things that I'm going to show you next. So think of it as like putting a bunch of things together in a basket and saying it all is within this container. And the group itself, you can see now my list view. Sam was referring to how the list view shows these nestings. And that lets you dig in and see what all is built within this, this group section. So groups can be within groups. This group itself controls the columns. So that's that group block. And then the group, what's cool about the group and a few others, they have an alignment setting. So you may see on websites where there's a section that goes edge to edge, a full bleed section of the site when you're designing it. This is available in the group block with an alignment setting, which we can set here in that toolbar. So that shows that little black align hover, right, Sam?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I know drop downs don't always show, but I think that this is more of an interactive tooltip type thing that does show. So when you're working with a group block, if you just want to group things within the natural column of the page, you don't have to play with alignment. But if you do want things to go edge to edge, the first thing you'd want to do is add that group block and then click this align. And then for this theme, the max width of a normal column is 805 pixels. Yours is going to be unique to what your theme has set. So you can say no alignment, which would take our group block to the normal width of the page. You can say full or wide width, which in this theme is 1230 pixels, which I think is, I don't know, they're always changing. Screens are always getting a little bit more pixel dense. So it may be now that people are going a little wider. I've seen sites that 1440 pixels is their wide width. If anyone's really into the design and the cutting edge of what breakpoints they're called, people are recommending, shout it out in the comments. But this one's 1230, which is you can still see it's not going edge to edge. So it is a page builder with a visual experience. I think Elementor tries to very closely replicate the front end of the site. Like it has your full menu and any sidebars. We're focused just on like the meat of the page, the content section. So it's maybe less 100% visually matched compared to Elementor's editing experience, but I think it helps you focus in on what you're supposed to be editing at this time. I don't really need to also be able to click in and edit my header while I'm editing a post. So if you want that edge to edge, you go full width. So that's the alignment piece. And then you can also justify it, but we don't need to get into that right now unless people are like, oh, I really want to make this complex layout. So that's the alignment on the group block. And then the other thing you can toggle is content within the group block. How wide is that content? So what usually you should leave it as is this setting in the right, inner blocks use content width, which means that you'll get more alignment settings for elements you put inside the block. But you can also turn that off and just have everything go edge to edge. So you don't necessarily need to do that, but you might want to get familiar with and play around with this layout option on your group block. So this is what Sam said, there's kind of a settings side, and then there's kind of a style and a design side. So let's click into the design side of this group, and then we'll see some options we have for playing with what that container looks like. So we can change the color of text within the group, but that won't always trickle down if you've modified color on an individual element. So I don't often set color on my group, but this background element we can play with. And that'll be that strip of content in your site, this one being edge to edge. You can change the background color of it. The palette available is going to be theme dependent also. So if your theme has named colors for the block editor, Memberlite will name colors that you can change for your site. So they're not going to necessarily be these defaults. They'll be your own versions of colors. And then PMPro also adds or does PMPro? I'm trying to think. We didn't start adding colors here yet, but we're thinking about it. And then WordPress itself names default colors here, which may or may not be present if your theme disables them. So this experience is an uncustomized Memberlite theme. You can also add a gradient to the group block with these core WordPress defaults of gradient colors and play around with things, which is pretty cool. And it's going to visually show you what you've done when you make that change. I don't really want to make that change, but I'll just show you that those two options are available to you to set a solid background color or to play with the gradient of it. So that's color. You can also set a background image, which we see up here on this cover block. That's using a background image on the block. And I don't like to set things like typography on the group block because I like to do it at the individual text element feature. But here's that padding feature. So if you think of, if anyone's not familiar with web design or designing anything, the margins are outside of the group block. So the strip itself is this teal color. The margins would be left, right, and above and below. So it would create spacing outside of the teal, which would inherit whatever the background color of your poster page is. And the padding is inside. So how much space do we put between the borders of the group block and the elements within it? So you can put very little padding and have it be just touching the edge, or you can do a lot of padding here. It's also theme dependent, these steps. So Memberlite theme defines what a 2 and a 3, what multiple of what that is. But at any time you can click this toggle and then set it to a specific value, which you probably can't see those when I click over it. But you can set it to 200 pixels if you wanted to. Make it so specific you needed a certain amount of space, or just keep using those presets. And then margin is the space above and below. I don't know if it's gonna, if we duplicate it, we'd probably see. Here, I'm gonna duplicate it just so we can see how margin moves space outside. So it puts a larger gap between the items around it, and you can get it down to none. So we could have a teal stripe followed by a navy blue stripe with no white space in between, or a lot of white space in between as well. Sam also said we would talk about border and border radius. Let's talk about that for the inner elements. So let me, Sam and I divvied up blocks. So that's the group. I think the group is like an unsung hero. We need to play with that group block more.
I would also strongly encourage for any of this that we're demonstrating is play around with it, and you can very easily look at the front end in a new tab as you're playing with it to see what changes. And a lot of times when I'm designing sites for like my quilting guild or my dad's metal detecting site, I'm constantly like making a very small adjustment and saying, okay, what did that do on the front end? And then going back and be like, I don't like that. Let me make this adjustment. And I'm constantly going back and forth. And that's the best way to figure out what you really like. With Painterships Pro, Kim has done so much of the design work on our landing pages and everything that at this point we kind of have almost like a formula that we like follow. And so that's pretty consistent, unless there are things that we're, straying away from that. But once you find what you like and what looks good for your brand, you can then stick to it. But as you're figuring out all of these settings and things, I would recommend just go back and forth, because it's fun to see what you can do.
That's so true. Yeah, we often will just, when we're doing a new landing page or doing a new anything on our site, we'll find a page that exists that we like, and we'll just go here to the list view and copy that strip, or we'll copy all of it. We'll say like, we like everything here. Let's bring this all over and copy all these blocks and then just paste them into the new page or post so it's consistent for us. Yeah. All right. I think it's Sam's turn. No, I'm still talking about core blocks. Okay. All right. I can keep going. I'm going to dive in. So this group block has a columns block within it, and columns, just like you would think, it allows you to create structures where things sit side by side, and the number of columns you can control, the widths of them, and the space between each column you can control. So here is our columns block. You can see that I have it selected here, and we can also get to it here within this list view. We can click on that columns block and see our settings. It's 2 columns. We can say we want 3 columns, or we can go back to 2 columns. And the spacing between the columns is what's here, this block spacing. So we didn't talk about this with the padding and margin. You can still do that on columns blocks, but you can also do this on block spacing for your columns blocks and increase or decrease the amount of space between the columns. You can see how that makes these 2 columns have more of a gap or less of a gap if I increase that. And it's obviously it's updating in real time for me. So we have, I'm going to put it back to what it was. I think that's what it was. Those are kind of the columns things. Just like the group block, you can set background colors and control things on your columns, but more often I think people are going to do that on the individual column within the columns block, which is what I'll click into next. So you see here I'm on the individual column, or if I go here, I'm getting deeper in. Now I'm on this single column. And if I go to my setting side, that's where I would control how much of the share of pie does this column get, and the other one. So I have this one's currently set up to a 2/3, 1/3 layout. You see here, I'm on the group. Okay. This one is 66.67%. This side is 33.33. So 2/3, 1/3. And I'll just insert above here so you can see. Can't you add? Okay, add before. When I'm adding the columns block, WordPress pops up some pre-designed column layouts. So for that one, I just chose this one, the split 1/3, 2/3, a 50-50 split, all 1/3 split. Or if you skip that, then it's all up to you to do that yourself. Get out of there. Go back. Okay. So then that's the columns block. Then within an individual column, let me go back. I'm using like up arrow. Within an individual column, we're back to this toolbar. We can say that we want things to go to the top of the column. So you might, if you use spreadsheets a lot, you might see what's called like the alignment of items in a cell. And you can think of it similarly here. You can have all the column things go to the top, go to the bottom, or you can have it all spread out, the elements within, to kind of stack it. I have them in a group, so that's not going to work. Or what I had here was sit them in the middle, which you see if we go to the front end here, that kind of makes the layout really balanced. We have this long quote on the side, and then we have this section that kind of says, what is this about? That's in the center of that column. So no matter how big or how tall that right side gets, we keep the left side column in the center, which is pretty visually appealing. I think we did a good job with this demo site. People like it. And then this other side column here is where we have this quote. And we don't have any of the background I have inside of it. I don't have it on the column itself. So this is just that standard column. So if I go a layer deeper, you'll see there's another group block here that I've done this background color and these border. This is where I can show you guys how radius works. So just on that group block, this white one, we have a background color. It's kind of a soft gray color. And then this group is what has border radius. So if you ever click this toggle, you'll get more options. I don't have a shadow on it, but we can play with it. This is where we could say if we wanted a border on this block, we could add a border, and we can adjust the thickness of the border here or remove it because it's not meant to be. And adjusting the border radius here, the same thing. We can almost make it teeny tiny or have a little bit of border radius. What was it, 20 to start? So I like that. That's available on the group block. That's available on the paragraph block, has border radius. So not every setting, like Sam said, is present on every block type, but at least on the group block, which I think is always, if you can, use a group block, do that. And it does this one. You have the ability to add some shadows to things. These are not customized by PMPro or Memberlite. These are all just default in WordPress. Your theme may or may not allow these. The theme can say, turn that off. We don't want them to be able to use that style of drop shadow, but actually it's pretty nice. Maybe we'll start adding some drop shadows. It's a pretty flat layout here. Yeah, so we did the outer group, which is that aligns to the full width. We added a column block within it, and then each individual column has some controls of vertical placement, spacing between the columns, margin and padding. We can still play with all that, background colors. So we're getting into it a little bit, hopefully not too confusing, hopefully stepping in slightly into things. What do you think, Sam?
I think we're doing good. I mean,
we're doing good.
Again, it really, even with page builders, like no matter what you're doing, it's always going to be
baby steps.
Just go baby steps and go back and forth and see what you're changing and what you're doing. Because some things are so minute that it's one thing that like maybe your members won't even notice it, but you will.
Yeah, you will. Yeah.
Before you
get a design eye onto things, right, Sam? When you started with us, then you would like see things in the world and billboards and get disgruntled and be like, oh my gosh, that, you know.
Yes.
The more you get involved, it's cool. Go ahead.
Before you keep going, there's a couple questions. A tip from Emily is if you get to a point where things are super awful on your page from what you were doing, you can hit shift reload the page and you can go back to your last save point. So that's something I did not know. There is also version history that you can say like revert to the version history as well.
Okay. Very good. And you'll know like that revert revisions. This post we were playing with already. I made some changes. They were noted as a drafted revision, but I didn't save them. So I have this yellow thing to say like, what did you do? So you see here, okay, we played with the alignment of things and we played with the spacing. So I can see what changed, but I can also, like Emily said, just ignore that and start over.
Yes. And you also can see if you have multiple people working on it, you can see who made those changes, which is really nice.
Yes.
Quinte Landlords says our developer handles all website details. Not sure, but they think she custom coded it using a theme. If that's the case, can they add more pages to their site using the block editor?
Yeah, I don't see why not. It's still a WordPress site. You should be able to add pages, and most page builders allow you to use the page build, activate or not activate the page builder on that individual post or page. So I know even Elementor, it allows you to have certain pages and posts on your site, ignore Elementor and just use the block editor. It's not required that all pages are built with the Elementor editor. So I don't see why not.
Yeah, I do know with like our
Yeah.
courses add-on, you have to enable courses to be built with Elementor before you can start building with
Yep.
the courses with Elementor. So yeah, you
Yeah.
can like toggle them on and off. And
Yes.
yeah, most sites will say, do you want to use, like, do you just want to edit the poster page, or do you want to edit with that specific page builder?
With that builder. Yeah. If you can ever get on one of our community events, Quinte Landlords, we can look at it with you and then, watch you edit the site in real time and see and give you the right answer there, because I just want to make sure that it's not. Yeah, I can think of ways that someone would hard code all of the pages and you couldn't add new ones, but I don't think that's what someone would do. But I can think of a way that it could not be possible, but in all likelihood, it's possible. That's just because I think too hard.
Emily said you may just need to adjust what templates are in use. So that's also true, which Kim's going to talk about templates as well. We will get there. So another question that we have from GK is, I'm using the Astra theme currently. If I want to switch to Memberlite theme, how much brain damage does that entail? Will it mess up my current page? I have to say, I just love the question of how much brain damage does that entail. I love that phrasing.
We want to optimize for less brain damage than more, right?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think if the problem with large themes like Astra are that they can have their own. The Astra itself has kind of its own builder built within it. So there might be features of Astra that you're using that are, special block types or special code that's Astra only. And when you deactivate Astra, either those elements disappear visually, but not in the database itself from the site, or they render weird HTML on the front end of the site because it doesn't know. So for example, short codes. If you're using any short codes, and Astra has a pro version, if any of the Astra Pro short codes were being used in your posts and pages, they will stop rendering as content and instead just render as an unrendered short code, like 2 brackets and lots of mumbo jumbo in the middle that were meant to do something visual because the code under the hood knew what to do with that little logic in between there. So I wonder if you could do like switch it on staging, switch it on, export your WordPress posts and pages and put them on a local site with Memberlite and import them and just see what transpires. It's quite possible you could do that. Yeah, that'd be fun to see. I'd probably do that. I'd probably go to the WordPress under tools, export, and pull down a copy of your content and import it into a local site and just see what does it look like when I have Memberlite as the active theme instead of Astra, and see what you think. That's probably the easiest way to know with the least brain damage.
And I would also, if you do that, I would also make sure that on that staging site, you do have your, like a mimic of your membership levels, and either have different members that you can log in and out of, or use the user switching plugin to switch to different users so you can see and make sure that any content restrictions that you have are the way that they're supposed to be for each membership level and for non-members and all that. So might take a little bit of testing and playing around with, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah. And if you tell us what you're not liking about Astra, I guess we can also, because even though this is Memberlite, these our core WordPress features. So I think that you can also use Astra in hand with all of what we're doing today, but I could be wrong. We have an Astra demo site. I thought. No, we don't. We got to get an Astra demo site, then we'll see.
We should have one.
Yeah. Brain damage.
We'll enlist Kim White to do that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, another quick question just before we move on.
Cool.
In the situation we're currently discussing, would it be best to set up a staging site that included your entire current website?
You can. We have some very specific protections you want to put in place when that staging site is created. And we never, with Paid Memberships Pro, it's our philosophy that a staging site isn't somewhere you can push and pull things to your live site from. It should just be like a point-in-time clone that is not connected to a payment gateway, that member data is scrubbed, and it'll just be like a playground. So if you did clone your site to a staging site, there's protections in Paid Memberships Pro that detect like the URL change, but maybe Sam can pull up a link to our guide on staging sites. Anytime we talk about them, all the hairs on my back stand up, because I think like in the past, years and years ago, Paid Memberships Pro didn't have the right protections. People would create staging sites and then it would like send emails to all their members, and the members would be like, why am I getting this email? Or they delete all the users on the staging site and it was still connected to the gateway, and it would say like, oh, delete all the subscriptions, ta-da. So the second you think to create a clone of your site, just familiarize yourself with the link Sam's going to share and make sure you're doing it in a safe way. And just know that you're never going to like push that live. The staging site's just that point in time clone. And you can safely migrate an old site to a new site install that you've like recreated the theme on and all that stuff. It just takes a lot of meticulous work to do that safely, but doable.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so you can continue. I think the two other important things for you to talk about right now are the more block and page templates. And
perfect.
Then pretty sure
we're already at 11:30.
I know.
All right.
We'll get to PMPro specific blocks.
All right.
In just a minute.
So I want to show you this more block. So in your Paid Memberships Pro settings, you have the ability to show non-members an excerpt of protected post content. It's not how Paid Memberships Pro ships by default, because we err on the side of protect everything. But I think for a lot of sites, you want excerpts to be visible to non-members so they get that teaser of content. So in this site, we have excerpts. Yes, show excerpts, which means like if I view this post, is this post even protected? Yes. Okay. I don't have access. You must be a member to access this content. So the more block is the answer to say, where does that break happen? So that's more right there. So get familiar with that one, because that's where you put that breakpoint to say this content, everything above this content is visible to the non-member. So in this case, so that's a cool block that's in core, and it does have a relationship to Paid Memberships Pro. If we changed our advanced settings to hide excerpts, go away. Okay. It wouldn't show any teaser content here. But if you do like that, which I recommend, unless you really don't want people to get a teaser or you're doing it in some other way, I like having excerpts visible. And then in our site too, we use this more block to designate the cutoff of where what's visible and what's not. Depending on your theme, you could put it anywhere you want. Depending on your theme, it may or may not work as intended. So if you're having trouble with getting the right amount of excerpt to show, we have some tricks we can help you with that are WordPress core filters that you can use. But the more block's pretty cool. I'll show quick the details block that was on my list. And these, like I said, are all core WordPress blocks, all available to you. Details block is a great way to do frequently asked questions on a post, which a lot of people say can be good for public content on your blog, perhaps, or even on like your pricing page. If you wanted to put frequently asked questions about our pricing, you can do that with this details block. So if you have an item, that's how it works. And you can add more. Do the details blocks, you create like additional ones, right, Sam? You can't it's not like the Yoast FAQ block. So we would
Right.
just duplicate
It's
it.
an individual one.
Question
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. And the one thing I do like to do with the details block is set it as I want to say a group, even though it's just like that one details block.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I can put a background around it. And so it
Mm.
kind of stands out a little bit.
Put a little background, put a little border radius, put a little border, put a little padding. I'm speed run. Oh, I don't have access. Hold on. Sam was talking about this view with access feature. I'm logged in as an admin, so I can do that. And then you get these questions become like a little open and close thing. Memberlite styles these this way. It may not be how your theme does, but it still handles the toggle of things. So there are people that sell libraries of additional blocks. You might see, I think CoBlocks is one. Generate Press has a huge blocks library. So we're trying to show the core WordPress blocks, and then we'll be showing the PMPro blocks, but you can also expand the options of interactive blocks you can drop in your site by purchasing or installing additional plugins that have additional blocks. Your theme could also be adding blocks. So the same is true of Elementor and Elementor Pro. You get more features with Elementor Pro. So the same would work if you chose to just use this native block editor. All right, page templates. We won't do the highlights for note. Okay. Do you want me to change the page template after you edit the checkout page, Sam? And then does that work? Because then
Sure.
I'll do that thing. Okay. Give them a break from me.
Okay,
Cool.
so if we're breaking from Kim, we'll switch our screens. Do you want to do that or me do it?
Yes, I'll add you.
Okay.
Remove. I never did this. Did we ever do this before with 2 of us? This is nice.
No, we haven't. This is the first time we've done like the back and forth. It's kind of
Back
fun.
and forth. Yeah.
If you're viewing it, let me know how you like it, because we can probably do this more. But
we're like, this is fun. They're like, no, it's
there are sometimes where I do get feedback where it's like, they just ramble too much.
We did. Someone told us that.
Okay, so one thing I'm going to talk about is called a query loop block, which is pretty interesting. But the way that I'm going to demonstrate this is actually showing you how you can utilize it to show premium content for your members. So I'm on the account page. There is a button on the demo site to go to the member content, and that goes directly to our the main blog page. But I'm going to edit this page, and these are using this is using membership blocks and shortcode that we're going to talk about in just a minute. But I want to add a query loop here, and I'm going to choose the pattern for my query loop. And then they give you a bunch of different patterns. And so it's really like your blog posts here that you have of how you want them to be laid out. It looks like I've done this before where I did a grid, and I don't have featured images apparently on this, but that's okay. What I found this to be really cool. I did this for my guild site, and I was building out their blog page, very similar to if you go to PMPro, our blog page, where it has like our most recent content. It has our code recipe content, everything like that. But in this query loop, we cannot inherit the current template query and place inside a singular content. What? Okay. I guess it's the default. Well, we're going to do custom, and we'll do a post. You get to see, you probably can't see my drop down. There are different post types that you can select, whether it's pages, events, lessons for your different courses. But I'm going to do posts, and I'm going to order by newest to oldest. So it will show the newest posts first. And you can depending if you do sticky posts on your site or not, which is like a whole nother topic. You can include, ignore,
la, la.
exclude, or only show sticky posts. I will exclude sticky post. I can determine how many I want to show on the page. So I'm just going to say 3, our top 3 posts, because it's it's in the nice column there. And then we can filter by a taxonomy, and we can do categories. So if you have a category that is for your premium only content, which let me look at my post
Enhanced
categories.
content. I think use enhanced. Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to help.
Okay. Yes, the enhanced content would be one that is for member only. I don't even know which one I have, but so we can search for that. We do the categories. Now it's only going to show me the blog posts that are in the enhanced category, and it's going from newest to oldest. And this is a great way to show that premium content for enhanced on your member profile page. So if we save this,
I just gave you enhanced. So
thanks.
You're welcome.
So now I have access. I'm on my account page. Kim gave me the enhanced level. I can now see these blog posts, and there's many more ways that you can design this, where it shows the featured image, or it doesn't show the excerpt and only shows the title, or it shows a little bit less than the excerpt. There's so many different ways you can do it, but this is a great way to show that information of this is content for your membership level. And if I was to add a new post actually, I'll just do it real quick. Why not? If I do a new post for enhanced members, it will pop up right there.
We get often asked, how do I show members all the content they have access to? And it's not a problem Paid Merchants Pro can actually solve, because we have no idea. We know we have these 8 use cases we serve. We don't know what custom post types you've made on your site. So all we can do is give you the information of how to build strong dashboards, which we put a link to a past live event that we did about building that. We have a really rich blog article that was recently updated about that as well. But it's really on the site owner to say, what types of content do I want to put front and center? Am I an e-learning site? I want to put the top courses, or I want to put the courses they've most recently engaged with. In this case, it's like a premium content site with training and news and updates. So,
you know what?
Put it in the category.
I did not put it in the category. I was like, why is this not working? I restricted it to enhanced, but I didn't put it in the category.
So if you're using post categories or post tags to protect content, then this is a great way. This query loop is a great way to make that dynamic section on your account page always up to date with the latest and greatest content in that category. So a good example of building a member dashboard that keeps up to date and fresh for people.
I didn't put it in the enhanced category because my settings to show the categories was off, so it slipped my mind. But now that it's in that category, and I refresh my account page after it's done saving. There you go. So as you update new content, it will show there.
And
provided you put it in the right spot.
Divi, they have similar features. They have similar ways to build a filtered list of content, of post types by tag and category to keep things up to date. So if you are fully embedded in using another page builder, you can still do this type of thing, but we're showing you that it's also possible with the block editor built right in.
Yeah. Okay, I guess it's the Sam show for a hot minute. The next thing I want to talk about is patterns in your content. And patterns are is reusable content that you can have for your different posts. One of the ways that we use patterns is to mark within our content where related readings are, to link you to it. So if you're familiar with our blog and you see the glasses icon says related reading and it links out to something, that's a pattern that we've used. And you can do synced or unsynced patterns. And I'll show you how you can create that. So I'll do a paragraph block and I'll just kind of recreate our related reading.
Oh, I was just going to do it for you. I didn't.
And we have it as a group. So then we can put on I think it's a light background that we have on a light blue background, like a blue gray. On ours. So we have that. And then if I was to hit options after I have everything set the way I want it to have set, I can hit create pattern. And here we'll name the pattern. So this is related reading. And this is where you can select if it's synced or unsynced. The difference here, if it's synced, when you change this in one place, which would actually end up being the block editor for the specific pattern, it will change on your entire site, whatever that change was. So it is important that, like, for something like the related reading, you actually want this to be unsynced because you want the style and the consistency of this pattern, but you don't want to have that one link being changed all over your site. We use synced patterns for items like our at the bottom of like our product comparison posts, we have a list of other comparisons. That's a synced pattern because when I update that, I don't want to have to go find all of my patterns and change them.
It's good for like CTAs that are consistent, that like this is always the CTA I put on this kind of content. So you know that you only have to edit it once. It's also good for when you have related reading for a certain category of stuff, but there's a lot of items in it. So we do that also on our like how to customize your membership site. I think we have a pattern for like everything that we deem related to that. And that's at the bottom of the post as well. It's that you get to the bottom of the post, what next? It's like, we have 20 other guides about customizing the member experience. Check them out.
And so I will note, maybe somebody watching knows more than I do, but I have not found a way to change a pattern from synced to unsynced and vice versa. So once you set it, unless I'm wrong and I can't find it, once you set it, you're kind of stuck with it. Now you can duplicate it, and when you duplicate it, that's when you can change it to synced or unsynced, and then you can make sure you're using the one that you want. Yes. But just be very thoughtful about it because it's like, this is like, once it's set, it's set. So when I add this, I have that related reading, and I can use that anywhere. And the way I can find it is if I do /related, it pops up as a pattern, and I can find it that way.
Super. I'll use it for like patterns for quotes. When we put quotes in content, we have like a pattern that's like a person's head with the quote there, and then we're like, okay, like we don't have to recreate the design every time or find where it was used before. It's super helpful.
That would be great, Emily. Thank you. So one thing about the patterns, by default, the patterns is not an option in the WordPress admin on the column here. This is a code recipe that Kim has added to this because I think, and Kim agrees, it makes sense to have the option to view the patterns that are on your site. So this is a code recipe. If you want it, let us know. Other than, this is a great way to go in and edit them. And when you do edit your patterns, it is the block editor, and you would edit it very similarly if you were in the post. But I can't remember where my train of thought was going.
If it wasn't, I think if you're going to say if it was a synced pattern, you could locate it, edit it, and then it would trickle out through all of the places that sync pattern was placed in post and page content. I think that's just like my brain wants to edit the pattern outside of the poster page it's in. I don't know.
And there is a way to, let's see, I didn't save that post, but if I was, let me just do that real quick. Yeah, I didn't save it. So come on, really? You just popped up. There it is. Okay, so if I was to actually save this, it does give you the option. Maybe if it's synced. If it was synced. Not synced. A synced pattern does give you the option to, those should be synced, top and bottom banner.
they're loaded in the theme, so you can't edit
Oh, I
them. They're
can't
loaded
edit
in
them.
code. Yeah.
Synced patterns do give you the option to then go to the pattern edit page
Mm-hmm.
and edit the pattern in that.
But it's a really
pattern.
simple code recipe that just exposes that editor for that post type. So I don't know. I think if you are using synced patterns heavily or even unsynced and you just want a centralized place to control that design, it's
Literally
5 lines of
7
code.
lines of code.
7 lines of code. Yeah, was the comment. Yeah, so I really like that. Nice pattern. All right. We're getting into the Payments Pro stuff. Sam, are you still happy to have the Sam show or do you want me to take some turns?
No, I'm happy to have the Sam show if people are okay with my brain breaking. Okay, so I'm going to go to pages for this because there are certain pages. Actually, let's do this.
This one's
Let's
pretty
narrow
heavily
it down even
customized
more.
already.
Membership settings pages. These are going to be the pages that are required for PMPro Pro to work of your account page, checkout page, cancel page, all of the things that your members are going to need.
The member profile edit is still using the short code. They aren't all. So if you want one that's still using the short code, for sure, that one.
Okay.
I just checked. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
The things that we don't do ahead of time.
It's been
when these pages are generated from the get-go using either the setup wizard or if you hit the generate pages for me, if you skip through the setup wizard, they will be using the short code, which is going to be for the one that's not edited here is the member profile edit page. So if I edit this page, I will see it's using the classic editor. Actually, it's not even a block. It's a classic editor and it's a short code. We can convert that to block and it would convert to a short code block. However, I want to use the PMPro block, like true block. I don't want to use the short code. So I will delete that. And there's a few different ways that you can add blocks. Kim and I do the shorthand of hitting / and then we kind of search for the block that we're looking for. That's useful when you do know what you're looking for. So I would search like profile, and it does come up with the different profile pages. The PMPro account profile edit page is the one that I'm looking for.
Yep.
And it's a very simple block. And there are really not many settings. You can do your background color, your button, your heading, the different design style settings that Kim was talking about earlier on this one. This one's a much more simple block. The other way to add blocks is to hit the plus sign, and then you can either scroll through all of the blocks or you can search. You also have your patterns here and media. So that's another way to find all of the blocks. So I'll
bring up Emily's question just because it's kind of what you're talking about here. Emily asked, can I add blocks to all PMPro short code pages, the login page? Yes. So even if you go to edit the login page, Sam, here you'll see how we've customized it as well with the block editor. So PMPro wants you to have either the short code or the corresponding block on those assigned pages. Otherwise, people won't be able to do what they are intending to do. That doesn't mean you can't modify the appearance of it or add additional things to it for sure. So that,
right,
for example,
yeah,
here.
for the login page, we do have the login form block, and then Kim also added a registration part of it. So it's a dual login or register page. With any of these PMPro pages, like Kim saying, you can add content below, after, in between columns. Oh, he almost spilled my coffee.
Oh no, that is unacceptable.
Very. So you can design the rest of it outside. What is required is going to be that short code or the block. One page that we played with already with my query block, but I'll go back to, is the account page. This one is built with individual membership account blocks. But we also can, if I add account, I can add PMPro page account full. And then with this block, I have these settings on the right to decide if I want to show the membership section, which is going to show what memberships I hold, the profile section, which would be like more of my information, orders, and member links. So if I click all of these,
you're going to get duplicates.
I'm going to get duplicates. Yes, I know. But just to kind of show you what the layout is. So that's my account information, my memberships, order history, member links. Now the top half of this, I just added that block with no other styling. And so it's going to use the template that we're using, and there's no other styling. Everything below this that we've done earlier, that's where Kim's done more design of. We have the columns, we have the individual blocks, so we can decide the layout of how this is going to be shown. So the my account is off to the right, and the memberships is a bigger section of the page. And if we had subscription information or an expiration, it would also show in this membership a column. So there's a lot of different, that's the courses short code to show you what courses you can take with your membership. So that's one that can be adjusted.
And then those, you can see those individual blocks have a field to edit the title that's shown. So some people don't call them memberships, they call them subscriptions. So you can change that. And then on the front end, that's going to change like the heading above that little section of the page. So the blocks do have a few more options than the short codes offer. If you want to edit the checkout page, Sam, that one also has a setting. Tab heavy.
Very tab heavy.
This is already using the block, but if you click on the right side, you can set the level that'll default to the checkout page if none are passed in the URL. So your checkout page, most people get to your checkout page from some other place. They click on a link on your levels page with the specific level to check out for passed in as a URL attribute. This block version, you can also set what level if people happen upon the checkout page without a URL attribute for a specific level ID. So it's going to default to the first one in that in your first level group, first level in the group sorted. But if you want to make it a different level, you would adjust that on that block.
Yeah, and just to note what Kim's talking about for the level attribute is this just says membership account, membership checkout. If I was to actually go to the pricing page and go to the beginner, so just so we're comparing apples to oranges, we do have membership account, membership checkout, but then it says level equal 1. And so that's that URL attribute that Kim is talking about. The other cool block that I think is really nice for designing either custom pricing pages or maybe you want to insert a price someplace else is, let's see, that's my membership account page. We'll just go to a post and do it. Why not? We'll make this crazy post even crazier. We have a membership level, single membership level. And so this block allows me to select a level, and I can select like the professional level, and then I can also decide maybe I don't want to show the level price and I just want a button for buy now, and I don't want to show expiration. I can save this and open another new tab. And then I have a block that says like this is professional, and I can go ahead and buy that now. And again, you can also use that in a column and a group and have a background with it and do all of those pre-designed things.
Yeah, that's our answer to keeping that information up to date if the level price changes, if the level description or the name changes, but you've already kind of designed a pricing page yourself and wanted more granular control than the default PMPro levels shortcode or block option was giving you. So that's a newer one, and probably we don't talk about it enough, but it's a pretty cool way to design pricing pages with more control.
Yes. Okay, what else is on my list for the Sam show?
I can come back in. You showed everything, I think. I'm in on page templates, content visibility. I'll go quick because we're at time and I need to pack. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Is that my screen? Okay.
That's your screen.
I was going to show the two things. I was going to show the page settings. We do membership site audits for our premium members. So if you're a premium member and you haven't gotten your audit yet, reach out on our contact form. We send an email. I think it's a week, 2 weeks prior post checkout for a premium level, we have an awesome handbook internal of all the things that we look at as a non-member of your site. We go through and we say, like, was it easy for me to find a way to register? Were your pricing, was it clear to me what your pricing was? Are there any noticeable, glaring accessibility crises? And I'm having brain damage. What was it called? Using your site. So certain things like that, making sure your homepage has clear CTAs, making sure you're following basic accessibility, a few checks and recommendations if we think you could simplify things a little bit in your site and hopefully increase conversions, which people report back how helpful these audits are. But one of the things that I often see come up in the audit is a checkout page that has a single column for the checkout, but it's extremely wide. So it goes like edge to edge. And I'm, one of the things for forms and reading, you never want people to have to scroll like the full width with their eye to check out or to complete a form. So we often tell people to make it like a little bit more narrow. So there's ways to do that with page templates, depending on your theme. And there's ways to do that with the block editor. So I'm going to quick show you both. Here I am editing a page in my site, and I'm going to use this page level settings. We've been mostly in this block side, but here on the page side, we can change the template, among other things. You see a ton of things here. We can change the template of the page. And in this case, I've chosen this narrow width. I'll show you if I chose full width, what that would look like and why that experience might be not as good. Yeah, so filling out a form like this is pretty overwhelming. And if all the content was here, we had all of our fields and it was very long, it's like not necessary to be this long. So we can do this in Memberlite by choosing the narrow width, which makes it that content width of the page. Another option is to put this in a group and have it use the content width. So it'll center the content and be no more than 800 pixels. So we put it in a group. We said, okay, do that. If that's not working for you, you can also do one of these column layouts. Like we'll do this one, 50 in the middle. And then I can put my checkout box in the middle of that column and do that same thing. Have a narrow width right in the center of the page. Some people also will want to do a checkout page where there's like a sidebar with some like refund policy. So you could do that here. Also, if you have a theme that allows a full width layout, you can use those column blocks to put your checkout form in one column and then have some sidebar stuff. Maybe you have your refund policy there. You have reach out to us if you have questions. You could put an upsell there based on level. So lots of things you can do to play with that. But I often tell people to check that width and constrain it a little bit to make that checkout experience more manageable for people on large screens. Because you can imagine, I've even seen people have it where it's unbound. And, my people we work with have those widescreen monitors and the checkout page literally stretches that far. So there's a lot as you get into design and get into understanding how you can do some tests to test the experience. That's part of what our membership site audit does as well.
And
so I wanted to show
just
that.
a tidbit of when you're designing your checkout page, if you are going to adjust things, it is recommended to not put links for them to leave checkout.
Yes.
You can have extra information, but you kind of want them to stay on checkout and complete it.
Definitely. You don't need a sidebar with like your latest blog posts on top of everything else. Cool. Should I show the content visibility and then we'll wrap up?
Yep.
Okay. We do have other video and written tutorials on using the content visibility block, but I'm going to demo it here. We teased it a lot last week as well. So this is a regular post that's public on my site. Anyone could come to this URL and view the full content. I'm going to show you how to add a content upgrade for members only to this piece of content. So it would still be a public post, but people logged in as members are going to get a little bit more information on top of things. So I'm going to do that with the content visibility block. So let's say this section here, I'll add the content visibility block. This is not a core WordPress block. This is a core paid memberships pro block. But it acts very similar to the group in that it's a wrapper, it's a basket, and everything we put in this basket is going to inherit the visibility settings of the block itself. So in this case, I'm going to show to all members, and I'm going to show the no access message if the member doesn't have access to it. So it's just going to exist as this little highlight in the center of the post. that only members can see. So I'll put this, I'm trying to put it inside. Can I do that? Oh, this doesn't want me to. Here, go inside. Drag. Okay. So we have our content visibility block. We have our upgrade content here. The member reading it, they'll have a seamless experience. It'll look like it's just content that they can see. You could certainly highlight it and say like, this is a benefit of your Plus membership that you're seeing this, which might be useful depending on your thing, or you might just want it to exist kind of seamlessly so they're not constantly being reminded like, oh yeah, I'm paying for this, so you can put that content visibility update there. And then we wanted to show how you can nest these content visibility blocks to create more interesting stuff. So in this case, the outer block is saying only show to members. I can put inside another content visibility block that shows to a specific membership level. So this is a cool way to do, anyone can see this upgraded stuff. And then my ultra premium people get this PDF download or get a book call link. That's kind of the thing. Like, let's put a button to say book a call to discuss. And we only want the people in our professional. What's our most fancy level here?
Professional is the most.
Professional. In our professional level to see this piece. So you can do a lot with the nesting of this. You can do, you can, hide it from our ultra premium level, and then everyone else would see hide from professional, let's say, and it would be like upgrade to professional. And our professional people won't see this piece. So it's cool to do. You can get really like break your brain doing this for sure. That's what I say. But it's cool ways to put content upgrades. We can do this with the CTAs that are synced patterns also. We can make a pattern that we consistently put in things. That's the dive into this in the community, have a conversation about this post in community, and have the negative effect of it that it's hidden from those people and it's an upgrade to get access to our community, and just be dropping that into our posts where we think it fits. So think about the nesting. It's a cool way to manage things, manage CTAs, and give members a little bit more benefit.
Yes, Emily, you can stack them inside one another, like the Russian doll egg things.
Yes. And this is absolutely where having this outline view shows you what's going on here. User switching, like Sam said, gives you the ability to test all these user experiences without having to log in and out of your site. So when you get to this like mature level of crazy, use this list outline view and use user switching so that you're constantly testing as a logged out, as a logged in, as someone with access, as someone with a lower tier, because you've created a web of chaos for yourself. But that's how you get these upsells for things and show the right content to the right people. So members feel like they're being guided and treated very well, and non-members are being gently and nicely upsold or sold where necessary.
Yeah. So Emily, I know like the stacking of the content visibility blocks can be really confusing. I would encourage, I did drop a link for the content visibility. I believe there's also there's another video that Kim did. But to deeper dive into this, I would recommend joining a community co-working, and we can really dig into showing you the differences of like we can use switch to and go a little bit more heavy in the content visibility stacking world, because it is brain breaking. Like it will melt your brain.
Yes.
But it's really cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to have two versions that show the no access message. I put that on the outermost one. Here, it's going to show for us, but all right, I just see the content. If I view without access, I should just see one membership required for this content inside of it. And I have, if I view with access, which will pretend that I have professional, I can see it all. Oh, wait, view with current membership levels. Okay. What did I say? Oh, I said to view with current levels. This should show me the button. Yeah, because I have enhanced, right? So now my current access gives me access to this whole section, which was cut out for the non-member. And then I also see the upsell that professional wouldn't see within there. Yeah, that's the leave you with that tidbit of mind breaking. Yeah.
This is another one
Awesome.
where play with it, see what it's doing on your front end,
Yes.
test what it's doing on different views of different people. One question, I know you're out of time, but can you point me to documentation for using Memberlite with BuddyPress? The issue is that BuddyPress pages show up as too narrow.
I think we have a code recipe for that. You just need to filter the template or the columns ratio on BuddyPress pages. If you're on our Slack community, I can try to hunt for that.
Or reach out to us on our contact page and we can find it there too.
Yeah.
Either one. We'll definitely get you an answer.
So Memberlite, all of the BuddyPress is inheriting your default post layout. So it's gonna think it has a sidebar and it shouldn't, but most BuddyPress layouts are meant to be full width. They have their own kind of sidebar experience. So yeah, reach out. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to add my screen back to the stage.
Perfect.
And I know when we started, we did a little bit of a recap of what's left in 2025 for our event, but just to go a little bit more in depth. Tomorrow we have the second to last Coding with Sam for 2025. It's not ending. I will be back in 2026, I promise. If you're not familiar with that, if you are trying to do some customizations to your site that require a little bit of code and you're not familiar with it and you're a little nervous, if I can go live on YouTube with a zero coding background and customize something on a membership site, you can do it on yours. That is a great place to learn some information. If you want to know what I will be coding the day prior, so sometime today, Christy will be posting the code recipe that I am going to be coding tomorrow. So that is a little tidbit. It does not get planned very far in advance. Like literally yesterday morning, Christy said, "You have a Coding with Sam today or this week. Like, what are you doing?" And I don't know. So, but she will post that today. On the 9th, we will have our 3:30 p.m. Eastern community co-working. So maybe if Emily or other people join, we can dive more into that content visibility block. That's a really fun one. Kim White will be joining me for both Coding with Sam and that 3:30 community co-working meetup. I will not have Kim Coleman, which is okay. Well-deserved break.
Yes.
And then we're wrapping up the year pretty quick. So on the 16th, we have our 9:30 a.m. Eastern co-working for the community. Again, you do have to, for those community co-workings, you have to be in our Slack community to get the link to join those. We do post reminders in there and we do send out emails. It does, like, our event emails do include that they're happening, but they don't include the link of how to join. So you do have to be in the Slack community to get that link to join the Google Meet. And then 2 p.m. that day on the 16th is going to be What's in Paid Memberships Pro Kit, where I will be with Shiv from Kit, and we're going to dive into the behind the scenes of how we grow our email newsletter list and how we use it. So that would be fun. You do have to register for this event. This is not our typical open office hours. I am not running it. I am not the host. I am a guest. Shiv is running it. So please, please, please watch your emails, watch for the link in the Slack community, and register for the event. Whether or not you can attend it, just click the link and register, please. They want me to have 100 people register, so help me out.
Help us out.
And then the very last event for 2025 is going to be on the 19th. It'll be the one last Coding with Sam. And then we will be away for a couple weeks. So,
enjoying a little break. Hopefully not freezing.
A little quiet, yes. So. Y'all can recover from my voice. That way you guys can hear so much more in 2026.
Yeah, I appreciate it. No, we did a lot of events this year and we feel like we're running out of ideas. So if you have something here you wanted to dig deeper into and you feel like it would be an awesome topic to devote a full hour to, I think we even had some moments here where we were like, oh, like that would be a whole topic in itself. So maybe we'll pull those out of the transcript of this event to pull in, but always feel free, send in on the contact form, post in community, anything you want us to dig deeper into, WordPress related, WordPress adjacent, third-party tools. We have some topics we bring back that are perennial, and it might feel old to us, but it's new to a lot of you. So even if you think it's something we've covered in the past, I'm sure we've learned something new about it or have a new opinion on it, or there's a new tool that we could absolutely recommend for it. So yeah.
Emily, I give you permission to DM me on Slack with all of your ideas, please, because
Yes,
I need
please.
help planning for 2026. That's going to be that break that I have of no events. That's my planning for 2026. So much so that like I've already planned my travel plans for 2026. So I will have a full calendar for 2026 before 2025 ends. So
Wow.
please send me all of your ideas. I did see your idea for the developer toolkit add-on. That's a really
Yes.
cool one so that we can hit.
Into that
Marianne has one last quick question. When you are away, can we still get specific questions answered for our website? Of course, our support team is always around.
Yes.
We do answer Monday through Friday. We try to answer your tickets within 24 hours, Monday through Friday.
Yeah. We're not closing at all over the
we're not
holiday
closing,
season.
no.
Yeah. I'm going
It's
away
just
next week, and then I'll be around through all the holiday, and we have good coverage of our team this year. Actually, a lot of people are like, I don't mind working and just keeping things under control. So we're never completely unavailable. That's for sure. The contact form stays open for sales questions. The Slack community is not closing. It might be a little quiet, and maybe that's the time we introduce that water cooler channel so we can see some for anyone that
what everybody's
celebrates
up to
a
for the
winter
holidays.
holiday or even the New Year's, we can all unite on that one, that it's time to say goodbye to 2025 and welcome in some fresh start. So yeah, we'll always be around.
Yes,
Cool.
we will.
I appreciate it.
We're
All right, I gotta go
never
pack.
not answering you guys.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We went a little long. It's been happening. It's an epidemic now, I guess, that we go too long. But
I guess I need
there's
to
so much
schedule these
cover.
for longer next year.
Maybe. Oh no, don't say it. Shorter. Oh, all right.
Thank you, everybody.
I hope you got some value out of what you just watched. If you're serious about building a profitable membership site, the fastest way to launch or scale is with a premium plan at paidmembershipspro.com. We've made it as affordable as possible to get started, and most people who upgrade stick with us for years. Why? Because they're making money, and we keep delivering expert support, premium add-ons, and a private community of over 1,000 creators building businesses just like yours. Click the link to compare plans or keep learning. We'll see you in the next video.